Hello and welcome to So Farscape,
a fun-filled Farscape fancast by a fervent fan.
and a frankly fascinated first-timer.
I'm Kaki.
I'm Kay.
And this is the story So Farscape.
Farscape.
Once again, taking a greatest hiatus, simulating the experience of having to wait for Season 4 to finally come out, and we filled that by watching, well, it's a masterpiece, the 2009 reboot of Star Trek by J.J. Abrams.
Right, Galaxy Quest.
That's the one. Sorry,
Yes.
I get those two confused because they're nearly
Identical.
Yeah, okay. Galaxy Quest, which is the thing that we're watching right now. This is going to be my main thing. Well, one of my main things. I have a lot of main things this episode because it's a fucking masterpiece. One of the discoveries that I made while watching it is that J.J. Abrams really lifted a lot from this film.
Oh, okay.
So he's, as many Star Trek fans are, a huge fan of Galaxy Quest because,
Right.
I mean, there's a reason that it was ranked the 7th best Star Trek film out of 12 in 2013.
No, good point.
And yes, this is a masterpiece.
Oh, no, absolutely.
It's been a surprisingly long time since I've seen it.
Oh.
And I'm just astonished. It's one of those films that feels like you've seen it more recently than you actually have.
Yes, absolutely. I guess it's probably 10 years for me. I don't know. I remember originally seeing it, but that was in the early 2000s somewhere. I don't think I actually saw it when it came out.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I didn't, no.
Because famously, Patrick Stewart initially didn't want to go and see it because he thought it was making fun of Star Trek.
And Jonathan Frakes called him up and goes go see it on a Saturday night when the theater's full with fans, and he absolutely loved it.
Because it's a Valentine to Star Trek and sci-fi fandom by extension in all of its wonderful silliness, which also goes for Stargate and, of course, our beloved Farscape.
Which is quite contemporary with this.
Yes. I think we even mentioned it during the filming of The Ugly Truth, where everybody's, acting various versions of themselves and they get to sort of play these hyper-real versions of most of the cast and crew had just seen Galaxy Quest the weekend before, and that was fresh in their brains, so they got extra funky with it.
We can do this, yes.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Came out in 1999, directed by, I really should have these notes ready. Well, actually, originally the director that was attached to it would have been Harold Ramis. You know him as Egon from Ghostbusters.
Oh, right, yes.
And he also directed Caddyshack and, more importantly, Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
So it's conceivable that he would have done a very good job, and he originally wanted to cast Alec Baldwin in the lead.
Okay.
Who declined, and so did Steve Martin and Kevin Kline.
Okay, well, I think they hit pay dirt with, I forgot his name now.
Tim Allen.
Tim Allen, yes, of course, yeah.
Now, let's address that Tim Allen is a bit of a shithead.
Yes.
Yes, one of those delightfully, conservative, antagonistic to decency and, I was going to say closet sexist, but there's nothing closet about that.
Nothing about that, no.
So, with that out of the way, which I think is a lot easier to do with Tim Allen, even though he sucks shit, than it is with, Kevin Sorbo, who sucks the moon out of the sky.
Oh, I don't know who's Kevin Sorbo. I mean, I know
he was the lead in Andromeda.
Oh.
A series that I have in the past considered doing for a greatest hiatus, but I can't imagine watching that quit face and still being able to have fun afterwards.
Fair. Right. So, are we going to jump in, or are we going to marvel about the movie for a little bit longer?
Well, I mean, there's a lot to marvel at because it's this fantastic
pastiche.
Yeah, I mean, I find it difficult to talk about exactly why it's so brilliant. Right, because you can only really appreciate the absolute genius if you have some awareness of fandom culture and,
I mean, you have to have basically seen Star Trek.
Yeah, and ideally been to a convention of some
sort. That
sort.
would help, yes. Be it an actual movie fan convention or an anime con or a fur con, or you basically have to have had some sort of experience of what it is like to walk around in Congress Center and have that fan atmosphere.
Yes, and you have to have wanted to be there.
Yes.
Right? It's not enough to just have visited because someone that you knew is you have to have been into it. And have looked forward to it.
Yeah, or just be a D&D nerd, or something along those lines. Yes,
fandom in the very broad sense, because it starts off it does this incredible transformation where it goes from really quite sort of cynical, not very cynical, but still quite. There's a certain disappointment in the shallowness and the pretense of this level of fame that these actors have not sustained.
No, they've clearly not gone to have luminous careers after they did the thing. They've gotten to be known for that thing, and that's where they kind of got stuck. And they didn't even get any other acting out of it. They just they're running the circuit basically. They're doing the cons. They're doing the little grift. No, not grift. The little
the side gigs. Yeah,
the side gigs. Yes, the hustle to get a little bit of ride on that old fame.
Yeah. Yeah, really riding on their own, the coattails of their past selves. And then it transforms. And I've often talked about, you don't know when it happens. You don't know when it happens that you're watching this pastiche as it starts, and then suddenly you're into it. Like, it happened at even this time, I couldn't put my finger on it. I kept making notes. Oh, this must be when it happened. When I, became swept away by the adventure. And no, it's not. It's not any one particular thing. David Mamet, famously, wrote a book about Hollywood, a famous filmmaker, screenwriter, absolutely brilliant in so many ways. You know him from Wag the Dog?
Oh, God, yeah, that's another movie which really plays with expectations.
Right?
And, yeah.
So he described that there are 4 perfect films, and one of them is Galaxy Quest. Out of all the films that Hollywood has produced, and it really is, which is miraculous, because so much of it is coincidental. Was advice from another, filmmaker like, Steven Spielberg, who happened to be touring the set, or just like some inspired input by one of the actors, or a poor response from audiences, test audiences, to the tone, which wound up, and the result is perfection.
It shows what it is. First it shows what it was, then it shows what it is, and then it shows how you can grow beyond that.
Oh, nice!
And there's a character development in the characters, but it's the movie does the same thing.
Yes, very good.
They start off as the actors, and then they get reluctantly drawn in. Sometimes there's the refusal of the call to greatness.
Very good, yes.
And then they get drawn in anyway. But the movie does exactly the same thing. It has this. It has the same structure.
Oh, that's brilliant! Yes, the movie gets the call to adventure and rejects the call.
Yep. And then it goes, and then it gets drawn in anyway, and then it turns out into
Whoa, that's amazing. Okay. We have got to jump into this movie. And, this is one of those cases where I know that there are a few listeners who tune in to our podcast not having seen Farscape, which, how does that work? I don't know. And I know that some of our listeners enjoy our banter while we're watching these greatest hiati without having seen it. But this one, guys, if you haven't seen Galaxy Quest, go see it right now. Pause this, come back to it whenever. See it with some fellow fans. Like, we'll just wait for an hour and 45 minutes until you're back. Okay.
Thank you.
Prepare to starboard.
Go into the black hole.
Yes. We open with the fanfare.
Yes.
The theme song for this show that nobody knows.
And they did a brilliant job on the music here, because I noticed that all the time they try to sound kind of like Star Trek or kind of like Star Wars.
Yeah.
And it's like and it's not. It's a unique piece, but it really conveys that message.
Yeah. Like, it's got completely its own tone. And, like, hearing this again after discovering that it may have been 5 or 6 years since I've seen the film, like, just immediately got me back in the mood. Oh, I'm going to see Galaxy Quest.
And it starts with pretty bad CGI.
Yes.
Of a ship. And then, the bridge, which is, like, clearly a plywood set. It's very reminiscent of the original series Star Trek bridge set.
Yep. It's got a lot of...
It's not quite as brightly coloured, but it's a little bit more dull and grey, and all angles and corners and all the consoles are clearly just slapped together out of wood with a screen behind it.
It's a weird sort of setup. Like, it's very much anti-Enterprise or even Farscape Bridge, where you have like a table near the screen. Like, they have a shot from the screen into the bridge, and like there's just a a big dome in the front center, and then the captain sits on a raised dais in the back,
Right.
and everybody else sits to the sides.
Yes.
So you don't have like the helm and con station like on the Enterprise where you have.
Well, you have them, but they're kind of like the helmet's like left and below of the captain's chair. That's the only one that has a separate station.
So here is where I put on my anorak, and this is my anorak voice because I noticed that at several times Laredo, who sits at the helm station, was referred to by different titles. He was also called Gunner Laredo and Helm Laredo.
I missed that.
Yes. Which may also be just he had different jobs throughout the series, much like Worf.
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
Right, Worf is
there's character development.
Season 1 of Star Trek The Next Generation, but his job is,
I mean, he starts off as just a generic lieutenant, and then he becomes head of security
like
when Tasha Yar dies.
Yep. Changes the color of his shirt.
Roles, yeah. So what I thought interesting of this first scene is like ostensibly we're watching a missing episode which has only ever aired once, and it's structured as the end of an episode, but it's still structured in a way that it introduces all of the characters.
Oh, yes.
It feels much more like the beginning of an episode than the end of an episode. But this is, of course, done because it's the beginning of the movie.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, this is probably a structure that was introduced to genre television, 90s onward, I want to say, where you had cold open scenes that sort of felt like the end of a previous adventure.
Right. Yeah. And yes, it ends with basically Captain Nesmith. Nesmith.
Yep.
Telling to activate the Omega-13, and then it's to be continued, and it cuts to the convention center.
This giant convention hall, which is incredibly hazy. This is, before smoking bans were enforced, I guess.
90s, probably getting there. I think it's probably from the special effects that they've been running.
Rows and rows and rows of fans in seats, a lot of them in cosplay. I had a whale of a time looking at this in HD because I recognized someone there, like... When Star Trek Discovery aired, the Klingons were sort of redeveloped and redesigned. And there is a Star Trek Discovery era Klingon definitely in the audience. He is dressed in black. He has this sort of ribbed collar. He looks like T'Kuvma.
Okay. Wow. So they kind of must have like drawn on that, or just happened to get on that.
It's got to be a coincidence.
It has to be, yeah.
Right. It's got to be, or a shared like reference. It's they're dressed in black. I'll find the chief sitting next to Queen Amidala. Yes,
right,
exactly.
Yeah, that's the one. Not Queen Amidala, but I see what you mean. Yeah.
So so much has been drawn from this film because it's a masterpiece, and we're introduced to Guy, who's the host, who apparently has been appeasing the fans for over an hour and a half.
Yes, he was crew member number 6 in episode 81, I believe. Died before the first commercial break.
You remember all this, but not names.
No, I don't.
I love how your mind works, man. I'm so glad we're friends. And like, he's so excited to introduce the crew of the NSEA Protector, and he looks off to the side where one of the stage managers is behind the curtain.
Stretching motion. It's like,
stretch it out. Nope. And, okay.
Well, we're going to be talking about this. And yes, he's been basically trying to keep the crowd warm, because it turns out...
What a job.
Oh yeah, it must be a really tough job. Because back in the green room, the crew is there, but no captain.
Now, we've got Alexander Dane. I'm going to remember all of their names.
Yeah.
Who plays Dr. Lazarus, played by the late, great Alan Rickman.
I mean, he kind of takes the cake.
Right.
Okay, I love Sigourney Weaver in this movie as well, but Alan Rickman is just Alan Rickman, and it's just
yes. Oh, the absolute last thing that I saw him in before his untimely passing was this. I forget what it was called. I'll put a link in the show notes to these super slow motion films of like a 13-second like event, 13 seconds, stretched out to like 10 minutes, and then with some really dramatic music. So they took music from, I think, Inception, and it's Alan Rickman dropping a tea bag into a cup of tea while staring straight ahead and then smashing it aside and throwing the table aside. And this is stretched out over like 10, 13 minutes while he just gazes at you intensely. It's amazing.
That's an interesting way of... that must have been framed at an incredible frame rate.
Yeah.
Damn, yeah. But yes, he's sitting there, he's like lamenting his life choices. He's like, he has put his makeup on, which he apparently has to do himself now.
Which he never takes on throughout the entire film.
No, but you can see it getting distinctly ragged towards the end.
His hair's coming out underneath. But like, even when he's at home, he keeps the headpiece on. Sigourney Weaver as Toni Madison playing Gwen DeMarco. Oh, look at me go.
Very good.
Yeah. Sigourney Weaver, who the filmmakers initially did not want to cast her.
Oh?
Well, they didn't want actual famous sci-fi people in it. That
right.
wasn't the point.
Okay, fair point.
But she insisted on a blonde wig that she stole after
yes.
Yeah.
There's a story about that where she tells the kid, I'm sure...
Justin Long. His first film role, he's a brilliant actor.
Oh, he's fantastic. But yes, she basically told, just on the final day of shooting, just walk off the set with your uniform. It's like...
Just steal it.
They
want you to return it, but if you just don't, they're not going to sue you.
Yeah.
Right, they're still going to pay you royalties.
Just take it and walk.
Oh, apparently Tim Allen, who's a piece of shit, but he was very starstruck when he saw Sigourney Weaver, and he was a big fan of like Alien, and so apparently like he brought one of his Alien memorabilia for her to sign. It was like a piece of Nostromo, and she signed it, "Stolen by Tim Allen, love Sigourney Weaver," and he was very upset by that. It's like, why would you do that? I was going to put that in my screening room. And finally, there is. Oh no! I didn't look up his. Yeah. Yes, no. I'm gonna have to. Tommy Webber, Laredo, actor. Why don't I remember his name? Daryl Mitchell. Let me see.
What else do we know him from?
I don't know him from a lot of stuff. NCIS New Orleans, Veronica's Closet. No, I'm not very familiar with the gentleman's work. He was not a character that I remembered a lot of, but that I really, really appreciated a lot more this time around. I think that he's the key to sort of going from this pastiche to loving it. That's my current working hypothesis.
Yeah.
And lastly, there's Tony Shalhoub playing Fred Kwan, which is not actually his name.
Name that he says at one point. It's not even my name.
Who plays Tech Sergeant Chen, which is... I didn't get that until this time around. Obviously, Tony Shalhoub is of Lebanese descent, but he's sort of portraying the tradition of casting European-descended actors as Asian or Middle Eastern actors.
I suppose with a name like Chen, it should be that.
Yes, and even like Fred Kwan, which is I'm not sure whether that's a Vietnamese or Laotian or Korean, but like when he's on, when people say his name, when people say Chen, he squints his eyes. As if he has, epicantic folds, like I do. No. As if he's, right. As if it's the sort of, the sort of squint. But he seems to forget most of the time until somebody says Chen, and then he goes, "Oh yes."
Oh, I didn't notice that, but
really subtle, but it's
but
brilliant.
Yes, he is. I mean, ostensibly a complete stoner because that's basically the vibe that
throughout.
He's always snacking. In the opening scene, he's like desperately trying to get into a tin of biscuits and failing.
Yeah. He's distracted by every vending machine. He's got like a bag of nachos with dip in the shuttle. He's got queso stains on his uniform throughout. He's amazing.
I mean, even like a guy at one point.
Are you stoned?
Yes,
of course.
Dude, look, this is what high people look like. And one more actor shows up, which is Tim Allen, who plays Jason Nesmith, who plays
Peter. Quincy. Taggart. Jason Nesmith! Yeah!
The commander of the NSEA Protector. NTE 3201, did I get that right?
Ooh, I don't know.
Oh, almost. NTE stands for Not the Enterprise, by the way. Who walks in an hour and a half late while fans are audibly like devouring one another and the
chanting, "We want the crew, we want the crew,"
and guys just struggling to keep them on his side, and the actors are just so offended,
and everybody is pissed at Nesbitt at this point.
He just won't accept it.
No, because
God,
I'm here. He swaggers on in.
Yeah.
Lorenzo is Dr. Lorenzo. I'm just gonna.
Okay, pick a nickname. I'm not gonna mess with you. Just pick.
I'm just gonna go with Alan Rickman, just because.
Alan Rickman, yes, okay.
His character is having a mental breakdown. It's like apparently he's got a massive case of stage fright, and whenever he has to work himself up to this, there's a bit of a downtime.
Mander.
There he goes.
Alexander, wait! Grab him!
Here it comes.
I played Richard III.
5 curtain calls.
There were 5 curtain calls. I was an actor once.
Which is I think is a dig at Patrick Stewart, who's a thespian
Yes,
actor.
yes, a Shakespearean actor. Oh yes, originally he was going to be credited as Sir Arthur Dane, and there was a plotline about him being knighted, and Alan Rickman sort of vetoed that because that would be hugely inconsistent with his character. Like, he's the one who has not gotten the plaudits that he believes he deserves.
He should have, yes.
Right, and if he were knighted, that wouldn't be. I think he's still quoted as like Sir Arthur Dane in the credits, so Alan Rickman didn't quite get his way, but. Hey, at least his name got spelled right.
Maybe he got it later after this.
Unlike Justin Long, who plays Brandon, who was at one point credited as Brandon Long. So, like, his whole name doesn't even appear in the credits of the film. Wow. Okay, so we're introduced to this really fucked up, codependent relationship that these people have.
Yes, they are the crew, and they always show up together. They always do their appearances together. Except it turns out that Nesbitt has been
they hate him.
Yes, they all hate him.
They can't get work without him involved
because he's the commander.
Exactly,
and even worse, he gets little work that they're not in on. Occasionally he has this little schnobble that he doesn't let the others in on.
But, at the same time, it also introduces you to, Arthur Dane, grabs a coat and runs out because I'm not going to say that stupid line one more time.
No.
Oh, was I too late for his meltdown? Oh, no, apparently not.
There he goes, yeah.
He's the one who's able to talk him down.
Yes.
Right, I'm not doing it, and nothing you can say can change my mind.
Show must go on.
Damn you. Even though, he's a terrible shithead, and he's very, this is kind of an exemplar of certain types of abusive relationships. Mm-hmm. That there is also a reason why you're dependent on this person who is such an abuser, because there are things that they can do that you need that only they can do, which is oof.
The crew gets introduced to the fans, who of course know exactly what to expect.
Yeah, starting with Tawny Madison and.
She does her moves, she shakes her boobs, she does apparently her pentac jab pose.
Very good. And, these are moments of genuine joy as they walk out, and there's this whole crowd of people who are so excited to see them.
Yep. And Nesbitt, of course, he's lapping it up. He loves the fans' adoration.
Oh, he's the best at it.
He does his lines, and then his microphone gets cut off, and he tries to launch into his own spiel, but no, his microphone's not working anymore.
Yep. Because they're just there for merchandising.
The commander and his crew will be signing autographs on Imperial Decks C and B near the Coke machines.
Because that's what they're there for.
Which is where it cuts to. Although, so that makes it kind of interesting, because I always thought that those autograph things, that money goes to the people doing it. I don't think the con gets that money.
So, as I
maybe
understand
con gets a cut, maybe?
The con, you pay for the booth. So if you want a table to do signings.
Right.
Oh.
But does that even work if you are the main thing?
That's interesting. Yes, because it is like a Galaxy con, right?
Yeah.
It's for
if you're a merchandise seller, then yes, you pay for your booth. And then you hope that you make more than that in sales.
I guess, yeah.
But these people are the main thing.
I don't know these cons well enough. I have been to a few Comic Cons, and but I've never actually stood in line for a photo. The only one that I regret is once at Comic Con Amsterdam, I saw Lance Henriksen.
Remind me who this is?
Is Millennium... Oh, he was the android bishop in Aliens.
Oh, okay. Oh, right, him. Yes.
Right? Yeah. And he's an actor that I've really, really enjoyed, and it was sort of a... I mean, I don't get up very early in the morning, where I didn't back in those days, and so when I arrive at these conventions, the lines are usually quite short for these, and the main attractions have usually left, and so it was just him manning the one of two tables in a row of 7. The other one was, I think, a minor player in Harry Potter, and there were not a lot of people in line to go out, and I made this sort of devil's choice. On the one hand, I really like this actor, and there's no line, and I could just go up and say hello.
Yes.
But I wasn't sure whether that would make his day worse or better.
Oh.
That's what I was thinking. Like, if I don't go, then maybe he'll just give up and go to his hotel room and go and do something else, and like you say, oh, that's done for the day. Or I might have made him say, I still don't know whether I made the right choice.
Oh, yes. Well, it's also probably also dependent on how much he was charging. Because, like, I think these are going for 15, but, like, I'm pretty sure that nowadays, these things go for, like, more like 50 if you're, like, an actor with a certain name.
Yeah. I mean, you can see them almost robotically signing these headshots and giving a little smile,
and how each of them is like kind of like drawn into their own little niche where all the girls are like trying to like imply relationships between what's her first character?
Pick a name.
No, yeah, that's what I'm trying
Even
to
Sigourney
Gwen.
Weaver.
Yeah, no,
isn't...
I know. I draw blanks on names.
Gwen
you know,
DeMarco.
Yes.
Is the character.
How Gwen is all the girls like who are a lot of cosplays of her.
Yeah,
and like they're all going like, oh, I thought you had a little moment with the captain in.
No. The commander and I never had a thing.
Because she hits she hits the actor's guts, not even the character. It's just like, no, there was nothing. Like
at the same time, though, she actually appreciates the actor. Like she looks over because Jason Nesmith, he's having a lot of fun with the fans. Like there's this this actual child that he's having a genuine bit of banter with.
I think we all remember what happened to that beast on Enoch 7, right?
And they're lapping it up. Like he's treating his fans really well, and she does respect that.
Yeah. And of course, Rickman, his character, Dr. Lorenzo, who is just like, he's like suffering through a line of
that he hates
people.
Oh yes,
and everybody wants to repeat that line to him, and he hates it. And it's
okay, we've made it through 4.5 minutes of the film, and it's taken us
20?
Wow. Nope, it's taken us half an hour of recording time. Yeah.
We're going to have to pick up speed on this.
Not a chance, because now Enrico Colantoni shows up as Mathazar, the Thermians show up.
Yes.
And we have to just squee about how brilliant these guys are.
The acting is fantastic. They stand as like a little bit stiff-eyed and like always like nervous eye movements, looking around.
I have, to my great regret, never seen a bunch of Thermian cosplayers at a convention.
Oh, damn, that would be great. Yeah.
I want that so badly. I would hang out with them all the time. Even more than, like, if I went to a convention where there was a significant Farscape-like contingent, and then there were Thermians, I would go out and probably party with the Thermians a lot more. Because so this performance came from like Enrico Colantoni. I think he's an American actor, but clearly of Italian descent. He went to his audition, and apparently they had like a concept for the design already, so they put him in the wig and the costume, and the audition was sort of okay, but the sort of casting director, and I think the actual director was there, Parisot, I don't know how you pronounce it, had been through this rigmarole before and got the feeling that, okay, this actor has something that he's decided not to do. And he called him back and said, like, you sort of look like you want to do something, so do it.
Right.
And he did this thing, which is apparently a variation of like a vocal warm-up exercise that he learned, where you touch the 7 resonators in your body when you go, "Whoa," and bring it back down again. And so he had this melodic but monotonous thing that he did.
Please, Commander, you are our last hope.
And just any line that he picks a certain tone, and then it's monotonous until the end of the sentence, and then he picks a new tone for the next one. And they loved it. Like, just instantly, okay, we've got our Mathazar.
This is how we're going to do it, yeah.
And in fact, in a huge breach of protocol, when they were casting the rest of the Thermians, they showed him clips from his audition tape.
Yes.
Which you're normally not supposed to do. You're not supposed to contaminate an actor with somebody else's audition. But like, can you do this, what he's doing right here?
But they don't all do that. Some of them talk normally, or at least
they do various variations.
Yeah, they all have different things. But you especially notice that in limo scene, not the limousine scene.
The scene with the limousine, not the vessel with the pestle.
Yes. where you're kind of expecting them to all talk like this, but the other ones, like their speech patterns are much more normal than...
It depends on who you get. Hey, how many of these termites/Dalmatians did you recognize?
Oh.
Because 2 of them are from Scrubs, and you're way more into Scrubs than I am.
Oh, I mean, it's been ages since I watched Scrubs. I didn't.
Okay,
I mean, she looks familiar.
Missy Pyle. I don't know off the top of my head what else she's been here in, but she's a fantastic actress that I've definitely seen in other things. And one of them is Rainn Wilson, a comedy actor who would later become famous in the American version of The Office, and who also played Harry Mudd in the Discovery Star Trek era.
Yeah.
Okay, well, just more for me to enjoy. And they're all sort of gathered around here, like interrupting Jason Nesmith as he's about to go flirt with Sigourney Weaver. Wow, these names are going to go all over the place.
All the fangirls, they're all doing the Penchak Jap pose for a picture with her. And
the Thermians are informing him, we are Thermians from the Klaatu Nebula.
And he just thinks they're just like another people who want to get him involved in their little personal role play.
Well, he thinks that they're the sort of cosplayers who have contracted him to do that side gig.
Yes.
And so he informs them, like, make sure there's a limo, and, right, he sort of sets the stage for his own abduction.
Mum's the word.
Sigourney Weaver shuts him down.
Yeah.
It was cute before I knew you.
Yeah, that's harsh, but...
And this is where it takes a nosedive, and he goes to the men's room, which is completely occupied by cosplayers and whatever at the urinals, and he goes into a stall. And then these two terrible bullies walk in.
Yes, they've clearly just gone to the con to laugh at the weirdos.
I think these actors did not do a very good job. Their laughter is not particularly believable. So do a better job, bully actors.
But yes, they basically slag Nesmith down. They hate him. They basically tell him things that he either doesn't realize or refuses to admit to himself.
Because they're laughing about the fact that the fans laugh at him, and in fact, his own
crew hates him. Yeah,
and he doesn't realize it, which sends him into a spiral of depression, and he continues his signings, doing
he's just basically just signs and shoves and signs, shove, signs, shove. Nothing of the captain demeanor is completely gone, which is even shown even more as a small group of fans show up
with Justin Long. He's so cute,
and they want to discuss technical details, and he snaps.
There is no quantum flux. There's no auxiliary. There's no goddamn shit. You got it?
This is so heartbreaking. I mean, it's a very harsh pastiche of I think it was a Saturday Night Live skit that William Shatner did, where he has that sort of pretend breakdown toward fans. It's just a show. But you can see the heartbreak in Justin Long's eyes, especially when you realize these were the kids that hired him to do a scene with them.
Were they, though?
Yeah. Oh. Later on, when they bump into one another, like, there was clearly a miscommunication about the mission, and then they're abandoned again. These were the kids that hired Jason Nesmith.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. That didn't really jump out at me.
Nope.
That was not.
I just got it in this viewing.
Poorly telegraphed.
It's a film that holds together incredibly well, but is not very ostentatious about a lot of those things, like the gag with Tony Shalhoub pretending to be Asian and sort of forgetting most of the time. Just got me this time. 22 years after the film came out. It's still surprising me.
So, yes, Weaver and Rickman have a little talk about exactly what just happened, that they don't understand it. Something must have gotten at him, which is very clearly shown, because next we have...
I want to... Sorry. I know it's taking forever, but there's so much world building here. Like, she has what looks like a nice suburban home, and he has what is clearly like an inner city apartment. Mm-hmm. Right? You hear police sirens in the background.
Yes.
And then we cut to Tim Allen, who has this
mansion in the Hollywood Hills. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, that's not very congruous with, like...
No, that's one of the things I actually had written down. It's like they're... it seems that he's doing pretty good for an actor that is running on royalties and fan signings.
So, either that's a house that he bought with his income, and it's the only thing that he bought with the money he was making at the time, sort of assuming that he would make bank in the rest of his career, or he's had a decent career, or he just gets more royalties than the rest, which is all possible.
Could be, yeah. Yeah, he still remembers his own lines and wakes up, passes out drunk, trying to drink away his
sorrows.
Yes.
And he wakes up. Now, this is a technique that I learned from the internet somewhere. The technique that he uses for dressing is called shirt cocking. Now, can you guess what that means?
No.
Well, it means that he's wearing a shirt.
And that's it.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And so I think
he's meant to wear pants, as in British pants, not American pants.
Does that...
Well,
so you mean vagina?
No, as in underpants, like pants.
I thought we were fanny. Yeah, that
no.
Means, sometimes that means bum, sometimes
in British, pants are underpants, and
as opposed to
trousers.
Okay,
which
yes.
is American pounds.
Okay.
Right, anyway.
I was having a little bit of fun with other sort of Britishisms that sometimes mean
Right, yes. None of those here, though. Although
No. I mean, if we wanted to find out if anybody was British, we would just say out loud, "Hey, how do you pronounce scone?" And we just see.
Yes.
Because if there were two British people, then they would immediately start a duel.
Well, there's that, yes.
Yeah.
Well, then the real question is cream first or jam first.
Okay, now who's distracting us from the film?
You started it. Anyway, yes, Thermians show up at his house. They have secured the limo. We got a fantastic scene where he basically moons them while he's looking for his shoes.
Yes, he asks them, "Can you look for another one of these?" And you see them sort of looking at the ceiling or down like
Yes.
The physical acting is amazing. It's the best comedy that's ever been made. Into the limo they go, where they continue to sort of clumped together. They're wearing these sort of pleather uniforms and trying to give a 5 million year exposition of the history
of their race and how things have developed. And he's just going to arrest us, and he's being he's being an ass here because he knows he's on his way to a gig which he doesn't really care about because he's hungover and he's just trying to wing it. He falls asleep, so he misses the entire trip in the limo with the limo through the wormhole.
There's a good gag where he asks about the woman, Lalira, I think the character's name is Missy Bile.
Jane Doe.
Doesn't she speak?
Her translator is broken.
I bought the DVD when it came out, and it has a special, a secondary audio track that's all in Thermian. All the dialogue.
Oh my god!
Which I don't know whether they did it, but I'm sure the actors just did that themselves for the whole movie.
Oh.
They must have. I would be so proud of that. And this is where the director initially would have just a fade from him falling asleep there, and then almost like a Wizard of Oz, waking up on the ship and it never being clear. But there was someone else who insisted that there had to be a shot of the limo being beamed up. And some dog barking.
Well, it's not really being beamed up. It's literally being tractor beamed up. I think that's what it looks like.
And it's gone. And he wakes up in what he thinks is a set.
Which he is impressed with. I mean, they go oh, this is really nice. Usually it's just some plywood and someone's garage. But yes, it's still very much put it on Screensaver 3 and...
Yep.
He's very dismissive of the entire procedure. He just wants to go through it because, he knows he's got a gig in Van Nuys where he has to be in 15 minutes.
This has got to be a thing. Also, good luck getting to Van Nuys in 15 minutes. I don't know where Van Nuys is. It's a Dutch name, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. I think it's on the East Bay, San Francisco.
Okay.
Oh, no, wait, no, sorry, of course not. It's Los Angeles. Van Nuys is Hollywood because that's where the LucasArts studio was.
Oh.
The first one. The first ILM studio was in Van Nuys.
Oh,
Van
Nuys, California.
It's kind of like if you get that bend in the water and then go straight up, and it's somewhere in that area.
Names are your thing. Geography is my kryptonite. And we're introduced to the Romulan starship Narada from Star Trek 2009.
It does look a bit like that, yeah.
Right? The sort of green interior lighting was definitely taken from Saris' ship. Saris' ship, I always thought, is a beautiful design. It sort of looks like the planet killer weapon from the original series and the Deridex class Romulan warbird from Star Trek.
Yeah, it's kind of like a huge whale with its mouth open and the green light of the...
Oh, yeah, it's like a whale shark. One of those krill filtering... Yeah. Yeah, good point.
And I love the evil commander's design. These lionfish spines on his back, which stand up when he gets agitated.
Yeah,
yeah, it's fantastic design.
His face is so expressive. For the longest time, I thought it was CGI, and still to this day, I wish I could find a proper documentary about the construction of this makeup/animatronic, created by Stan Winston, famous creature designer, who apparently wanted, he'd been working on that since. I think Close Encounters, and they were working on... Oh, yes! They were working on Planet of the Apes production.
Oh.
And so they were developing this technology for essentially a performance capture, live transfer from an actor's face to an animatronic armature that they were wearing as well.
Right.
So that's why he's got all of these micro expressions and curling his lips and his eyebrows.
His nose
and all that.
going up, moving.
Really brilliant. really sexy in a way. We know quite a few sex weirdos. I'm sure that there's friends that we have who are like suited into...
Who would be into that, yes.
Into Saris, but the commander is not so much into him.
Nisbet is just like...
Okie dokie. Let's fire blue particle cannons full, red particle cannons full. Gannett magnets, fire them left and right, and let them run. All shoots while you're at it once you toss that at him, killer.
Yeah, that should take care of him. Bye, I'm off. I need to get to Van Nuys.
The Thermians are astonished.
Yes, they're like, oh, but what if he survived? No, I'm pretty sure I got him good with that. Because, yeah, he's still treating it like it's just a game, just a role play.
Yeah. Yeah, like they were filming a home movie and they put together all their savings to hire 15 minutes of their favorite actor's time. Yeah. With the gratitude of the Thermians and an interstellar vox, a communicator.
Oh, yes, he gets given that.
He is led out onto this pedestal that he's left alone in.
It's kind of like the sun deck on Moya.
Oh, yes. Yeah, because, well, first some gel comes out that covers him completely, and then the roof opens, and yeah, it's like the terrace on Moya.
And he gets launched out into the wormhole, back to Earth.
So this is where, in the original theatrical run, there was a sort of fun idea, because the film starts off with the sort of footage of the television series, which is in 4:3 television ratio, nearly square, and then it widens as we get the convention.
Yeah.
And this is 185:1, which is how the projectionists were supposed to show it. But here, when the canopy opens and we get this actual vista of a space environment, the aspect ratio of the film was supposed to widen even further. And so there were special notes for the projectionist, and this is where like you open the matting curtains, but like it's not commonly done in films, and it didn't happen in a lot of...
So they wanted to make it even wider screen.
Yeah. Yeah, the director, Dean, I think Parisot, later said, yeah, that was just a terrible idea. It's almost a bit of a shame that I wasn't reproduced in the home streaming version, but oh well.
Yeah, they could have basically faked it by narrowing the field a little bit. And
exactly.
That's probably would have probably been the better way to do it.
It's a gag, I want to say, that was introduced in The Wizard of Oz, which also starts in a square format, until like the house is crashed after the tornado, and it's still in black and white, but there's this sliver of colored light coming through the door, and Dorothy walks up to it and opens the door, and behind it is Technicolor, and then the screen widens, and it's Technicolor and widescreen, and amazing. And that's the experience he has as he looks up, and then he gets zapped up through a black hole. And then there is a shot that was reproduced in Star Trek in 2009.
Oh, with the eye?
No, it's specifically the sort of shot from above him as he's traveling through space. That's how Kirk and Sulu were filmed as they were doing their planetary skydive.
Yes, I remember that shot.
Yeah, which they filmed by putting the actors on a Mylar mirror and filming them from above, so you'd have clouds underneath them. It's really cheap.
Oh.
And then just shaking the camera a lot.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, and they're wearing helmets, so you've just got, blowing some air around them. And
very clever.
But this is the exact same angle. This is the exact same shot. J.J. Abrams basically made a Galaxy Quest remake in 2009. Go and see it. You'll see what I mean.
I've seen the movie. So we have a very sorry-looking gathering here where Tech Value Electronics superstore is being opened.
In Van Nuys.
In Van Nuys,
yeah.
Yes. With the crew standing there and holding their little lines, each of them taking part of the story that like they're supposed to tell, like, oh, the superstore.
It's so bad.
Yes, and of course at the end Rickman having to do his...
By Grabthar's hammer. What a savings.
And it's just like you can hear the resentment in his voice. He has to be nudged by Sigourney Weaver to actually say it. And then these 4 little sad balloons are released, and it's
and Nesmith's there. He's running up to them. He runs past Justin Long and his
bumps into them. They accidentally swap.
Which is where they say, "Oh, sir, so there must have been a miscommunication about the mission because we were expecting you this morning." And
right, okay, I thought they were just referring to what happened at the convention center. Like
so there's 2 things that he's done to disappoint them.
Yeah.
And a third, which is he runs off, but not before he bumps into Justin Long and like drops the Vox that he got from Mathazar and picks up the plastic prop.
Yep.
That Justin Long had.
He tries to convince them to come along, go to space with him, and they're like, what are you on? Are you on drugs? Like, you're late? Why? It's okay to be disrespectful to us, but don't be respectful to the fans.
Yeah.
They don't buy what he's selling.
Even when the Thermians show up to inform him that, oh, Cyrus somehow survived and we still need you.
Yes. And they're like, oh, so these are the guys, like, this is the thing you were doing without us. They all get into Uber or whatever it is and leave. But then it's like, oh, but what if it is a job? All right, like, run for it.
It's Quan. It's Tony Shalhoub's. I think we should have taken the gig. Wait, you think it was talking about a job? Oh, no, then we demand.
We demand to be a part of it. Fortunately, the Dalmatians have left a transmission behind. We get a fantastic scene where they get their first taste of that not all is what they think it is. As these little glowy circles appear underneath them. The next shot we see is them arriving on the Thermian home base.
Teleport, and they're just sort of paralyzed and quivering and breathing like they're...
And especially when Guy arrives and he just basically screams.
Did you see Sigourney Weaver just clutching her chest? She wasn't aware that he was going to do that. Because, you have these Thermians showing up, these tentacled creatures that come up to them with, like, speculums and dental equipment.
And other rotating things which looks like it's supposed to hurt you.
These are puppets. These are animatronics. These were handcrafted with each of them with like 45 distinctly articulated tentacles. And apparently, like, Steven Spielberg, whose relationship with his production I don't fully understand, told one of the Creature Shop people that, hey, you know what? These aliens should probably look more humanoid, like in Close Encounters. Okay. And Stan Winston threw a little bit of a conniption. Like, these are great and we should do them. And apparently convinced Steven Spielberg that they should have these weird aliens.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it when aliens.
He's not a producer for it, is he? Spielberg?
I don't fully know. I mean, I know that he apparently, like, he toured the set and it was his suggestion to have more scenes with Brandon and his crew. It was a suggestion that this film was so hyper-real, it needed a human element, and Brandon was the right way to do that. So he got more scenes, But yes, our crew are introduced to their new world by the Thermians and a very enthusiastic Nesmith.
Yes, I mean, the Thermians, apparently they have these like appearance changers, which they use, and they apologize that they forgot about them. Nesmith comes in, like, come on, it's all great and it's amazing. He's missed this like kind of horrific scene which just unfolded, as has Tech Sergeant Chen, who only teleports in a little bit late because he was like checking out the vending machine.
Yes.
That was a hell of a thing.
Yeah, he's not fazed.
No, he's
by
just like,
any of it.
What's wrong with them? I don't know. Come on.
And he runs off, very eager to show them what's going on.
I love how sort of wobbly-legged they all are.
Apparently the transportation does a bit of a weird thing to you.
I saw a video of some cats that had just come out of general anesthesia and woke up to like find their feed bowl on the other side of the room, and with great motivation but poor coordination, they sort of
kind of stagger over there.
Legs don't all work, but still heading there.
Yes, the crew is introduced to Mathazar.
I love him so much.
Who is very enthusiastic to meet him. Like, oh, Tech Sergeant Chen. Oh, Tech Sergeant Chen. And then, like, each and every name they just kind of like whisper, repeat it afterwards. And it's a really creepy vibe.
But I never got it as creepy.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of still playing on the fanboys.
Yeah, they're
crew
sort of
thing.
Starstruck, all of them.
Yes.
So they reach,
And Guy. Guy.
Sam Rockwell is the actor. I love him so much. Very talented dancer. Very, very skilled. Yeah. And they get their first glimpse of the ship.
Yes, the Protector. And they're like, wow. It's real. I think it's Rickman who says that.
And it really is wondrous. That ship, like, it reads so much like the Enterprise, despite being completely different for clearly contractual reasons.
It looks a bit more like the Orville, I'd say, or the Orville looks more like...
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, the Orville owes a lot to Galaxy Quest, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
In fact, I think when you view the Protector from the top, it looks like a comm badge.
Looks a bit like the Quake logo.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Huh. Actually, there's another thing, which is like the doors on the Protector, they don't do the swoosh like they do on the Enterprise. They do the clunk, which is a sound effect they took from Doom.
Oh.
Yeah.
And yes, the crew is slowly starting to cotton on to what's going on. They talk about the historical documents.
You've been watching the show?
Lieutenant, historical documents.
And they're realizing that Nesbitt is basically...
Gaslighting
the aliens, because he wants this.
Yeah. At this point, everything is set up for the film to proceed on its major arcs.
Yes.
Because the sort of trifecta of deceptions is Thermians have arranged their whole culture and technology after the television show that they saw, that they assumed are historical documents.
Yes.
Which apparently saved them, and
their culture is in decline, and basically modeling it after this fictional society saved their culture. They managed to bring all the different factions together
and produce this magnificent ship that they don't fully know how to control. Like they even mentioned, like our efforts to operate our own technology under tactical situations in simulations has proven disastrous.
Yes, we're not very good at this. And that's mainly the fact that they don't seem to be very good at tactics.
Because they don't understand deception.
Yes. Okay, so one little thing which is a bit weird about this is apparently they can make things based on vague description. But even okay, the whole the Omega-13, it's like they made it based on, I suppose, visuals. I mean, that's the only.
Maybe there's some like techno babble about like.
But it's that's thing nobody knows. There's nobody ever knows what it does.
Right, but if it's mentioned like it's a quantum tunneling neutron fusion device, well, okay, we've got a developing quantum tunneling neutron. We know what those things are.
Right, now we have to just put them together.
I'm just guessing, right? Yeah. But like if someone described a complicated piece of machinery like scissors, right, to someone who's unfamiliar with matter.
Yeah.
They can still probably make a decent... Okay, so you've got two things that are bolted together, and then the hinging motion allows it to cut through something. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah. But you get the same thing with the matter transformation device.
The digital conveyor.
The digital conveyor, yes. It's like they built this thing. It can transport human matter, because anything else that gets transported in kind of tends to fail, except stone. The stone thing works as well.
I think that's the operator, because one of the engineer Thermians mentions that to Tech Sergeant Chen.
It's more of an art than a science.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's all based on... But okay, it's the same thing goes with the controls of the ship.
Yes.
So it's all based on the motions that they have observed.
Yeah,
right?
That the actors performed.
That the actors performed. But if you like make a system that like works to those motions... then you know what inputs it expects. You know what it will do if it gets a certain input.
Yes, yes.
And therefore, you'd think that like you'd be able to control that because you've like actually told it how to interpret certain inputs.
Okay, we're doing the exact thing that Galaxy Quest is lampooning and Valentining. Because yes, this is like this was the thing that I think made Patrick Stewart fall in love with the like that. These most ridiculous people, I was going to say fanboys, but it's far beyond any gender. Like these fans who delve into the science of Star Trek, and there's even those, bless their hearts, who try it with Farscape, which Farscape tooth and nail resists.
Yes, that's nothing to hold on to.
Absolutely nothing. But they're the heroes. It's their knowledge. It's their attention to these things that enables them to save the day, much like the Thermians. The Thermians are like Brandon, dedicated fans.
Yes, absolutely.
And that makes them great.
It turns out that Saris, whatever, has survived and is now coming at them again.
Yes, he's got a metal plate over one of his eyes. A robot hand. Of course, this is after the fantastic like clear all moorings gag where Laredo has to take out the ship.
Which also makes absolutely no sense if you look at the configuration of the ship.
I know, because the nose sort of grinds against the side of the space station, but it's got this huge disc behind the nose. Whatever. I don't care. I love this gag so much. So this is where I thought that Laredo, his arc, is the key to this sort of transition toward loving it, because out of all of them, he has to do the most actual work.
No pressure, huh? I'm glad I ain't the commander.
Laredo, take us out.
Excuse me?
It's like, wait, what?
Because he says that as a kid, because he was a child actor in the original series, like I had it all worked out what it all was going to do. So he actually stands a chance of figuring it out, and he does. But so, with the paint freshly scraped on this beautiful ship, and after a meal where the commander gets to eat corn-fed Iowa beef, Iowa, where James Kirk is from.
Yes.
Yeah, love it. Oh, and Dr. Lazarus meets Quellic, his student,
Yes, it was modelled his life on the way of Dr. Lazarus, whom he considers to be a father figure, even though they never met.
Yep. And though he is Thermian, he modelled his life after the alien culture that Lazarus belongs to.
We get to see how the previous captain got tortured. And at this point, the crew goes like, oh, shit, crap.
Yeah.
They try to GTFO.
Which they're unable to do because Saris has already shown up.
Yep, he's not very happy.
He looks good with that eye patch.
It does. I mean, okay, so what's the timeline on this? They did that pretty damn quick because, he went out, shot Saris with the ship, then he got transported back to Earth. They went straight to Van Nuys. They went straight back, and
it's all still the same day.
This is half an hour later, and yet the ship has managed to go back to
they had a stake in between, so call it an hour 45.
Okay.
Yeah, right? I get what you mean, you're right.
Yes, you're right, yeah.
So he got patched up and fitted with a robot hand.
I know, right?
Really quickly. Well, efficient technology, I guess.
A new ship. Hilarious scene where there's he gives the signal to cut off the comms, which of course gets misinterpreted. So,
yeah. I thought you were saying we're dead, which I agree with. I know where the damn mute button is.
Yes, I love her attitude. She's fantastic.
She's so good. She's a real highlight in what is already a gem. And then Guy notices that there's a red thingy approaching the green thingy on the screen.
I think we're the green thingy, and a little present, boom. They managed to hit the speed up button to get out of here.
And one of those rockets fired by the Romulan starship Narada.
Yeah.
This exact shot of tracking that rocket onto the bridge and exploding is also in the opening scene where the Narada attacks the Kelvin. J.J. Abrams wrote a love letter to Galaxy Quest, and apparently not enough people know about it. They managed to escape, but only by severely damaging their ship.
Yeah, so we get the first time where Chen is standing in front of his little crew.
Yes, he's an engineer.
There's a fantastic scene which unfortunately ended up on the cutting room floor. Whereas when he's first introduced to the tech crew, and he's just standing there going doing his stoner self, and they're going oh well, we have a question for you. We had problem realigning the phase crystals with the dilithium matrix, and he goes yes, and well, this means that they did become unstable with at certain temperatures. Which means, and then he leaves, and they come to the conclusion, they find the solution to the problem they've been having, and they're crediting him for it. Yep. While he's just standing there going, I have no idea what you're talking about. It's so fun. It's such a shame that scene didn't end up in the movie.
I know the exact scene that you're talking about. It was on my DVD, and that taught me the value of sort of leadership, which I've actually been able to use in my career, an incredibly valuable contribution that you can make as a leader of a team is to create the conditions for the team to solve it themselves, because they totally can. You can't.
No.
You certainly can't. But removing impediments, facilitating communication, all those buzzwords, sometimes you can actually do it, and it's so satisfying. In this case, he's informing the commander while, there's actual explosions going on behind him. And
the ship's blowing up,
basically.
About to blow up. It's also being blown up because they're flying through a minefield. They're getting knocked by the mines. They run the ship too hard, and it ends up adrift.
Yeah.
They've managed to escape Saris, but
at the cost of destroying so many systems.
There's everything is 80% damage, and most importantly, the beryllium sphere is cracked.
As the computer informs them in the sort of briefing room.
Which is the fantastic scene. It's okay.
He tries to ask questions to the computer.
The computer will only respond if Gwen asks the question, which then she repeats back.
Look, I have one job on this lousy ship. It's stupid, but I'm going to do it, okay?
Laredo's sitting there with a broken arm in a sort of healing
sling,
tube. Sort of like in Starship Troopers, they had that as well.
Oh, yeah, I suppose. Or the Bacta suit that Finn
wears in The Rise of Skywalker. I think that's the one.
I think it is,
Last Jedi. But hey, they have an idea. The tech crew has an idea that they can find a replacement beryllium sphere at a nearby planet.
Yep.
And Nesmith goes, we'll do that.
Yeah, because it'll give us the chance to do something.
And I love Chen just goes, hey, right again, guys. Come on, group hug.
Yeah, he's so good with his team. I love how they just managed to... Now they're actually turning the movie into what it is. Like it becomes, now we get the scene on the planet.
Yes, and it gets even worse. You get these ups and downs because, yes, they're coming together as a crew. Oh, no, that means that when they stand together, they also fall apart, which is a very human thing to do. Because on the shuttle ride to the planet, like, they're all still bickering with each other, and Guy has a freak out.
I changed my mind. I want to go back.
After the fuss you made about getting left behind.
Yeah, but that's what I thought. I was the crewman that stays on the ship, and something is up there, and it kills me. But now I'm thinking I'm the guy who gets killed by some monster 5 minutes after we land on the planet.
I love this scene.
It is funny. It's really good. Yeah.
I don't even have a last name because it's not important enough.
Guy, you have a last name.
Do I?
Oh,
but yeah, the thing is, they were kind of coming together. They actually performed while they were running away from from Saris.
Yeah.
And now you can see this scene as they're falling into their green room.
Yes.
Banter.
That's exactly right. That's where they are. They're back in the green room.
Yeah, they're waiting for the performance to start. They're on the shuttle, and this is almost exactly the same as the opening scene in a lot of interaction.
You're completely right. I mean, I was just distracted by the fact that they had seatbelts, which I thought was a huge innovation.
And yes, Rickman is complaining about Alan being the show off in the lead, and
the steam-sealing diva, much like William Shatner's reportedly was during his original series run. Laredo manages to land this really cute shuttle fairly well, and Chen opens the door, which Guy freaks out at.
How do you know there's even air?
That's fine.
Briefly, we walk in the wrong direction, which cements the fact that Laredo is not
impressed with Lazarus.
Right, that he's not Doctor, but also that he is not Dr. Laredo. He's like the
Lazarus. Laredo is the pilot.
Right. Sorry.
Yes.
Okay. Lazarus, Dr. Lazarus.
You're right.
Yes.
Also alluding to Leonard Nimoy in the first season of the original series, occasionally held his tricorder the wrong way around with the buttons facing the camera.
He hadn't really figured out which way was which yet.
With the prop yet. No.
So yes, cute little aliens who turn out to be vicious. Of course, they are. Lots of teeth.
What I'm reading here is that this is a mining operation that has been attacked by these little blue babies, right?
Yeah, probably blue. I'd say call them green, but okay.
Well, there's a lot of yellow light. Once again, filmed probably in that same stone quarry in California
where they all filmed.
Kirk fought the Gorn.
Yeah. There's a few beryllium spheres hanging around. There's much more bickering. I mean, we're not doing the scene any justice, but it's like, we're running...
This is going
to be a 3-hour episode if we go gag by gag, which we simply cannot do here.
This is such an ensemble piece, because the only human actors here are the core cast, and they all have stuff to do. Like, Sigourney Weaver... Like, suddenly she's really taken with these babies, and she sort of breaks cover to go, oh, hello, and she has to be stopped. Like, what is she thinking?
Yeah, but, there's a limp-footed one who gets torn apart by the others.
And they managed to steal this giant sphere, and they're rolling it over the ground all together while they're being chased by these murderous little...
it's like he later admits to Mathazar that our beryllium sphere is just wire covered in foam.
Oh yeah,
which this clearly has to be, because there's no way if that thing was actually made out of beryllium they would be able to get it to rock.
Would it be safe to touch with your hands?
Oh, I don't think beryllium has to be is radioactive.
No, I know it's not, but it might be toxic in other ways.
Probably
because
a little bit,
the beryllium sphere is an actual component of one of the 2 nuclear devices that were developed for the attack on Japan. Okay, yeah, so.
Whereas
I remember our friend Steve was over in the Netherlands, and I was talking for some reason about this nuclear design, and I mentioned the word beryllium sphere, and he snorted the beverage that he was enjoying at the time, having never heard it before outside of Galaxy Quest. Did you just say beryllium sphere?
Yeah. Yeah, they managed to get the thing in the shuttle, but the commander falls out, and he is left to the little critters, who don't actually decide to eat him, but they
hit him with a rock and then eat him.
Yes, except they don't.
Yeah.
Because they kind of leave him in place to be sacrificed by this piglet thing, which gets transported, blown apart, and
Garignac.
Who then turns out to be a rock monster.
Yes. William Shatner saw this film and was just very frustrated because Paramount would not let him have a rock monster at the end of Star Trek The Final Frontier, which he really, really wanted, but they wouldn't give him the budget for. And so, many disappointments in that.
He was a little bit...
underappreciated film, but it's a great rock monster.
It's a great rock monster. Captain gets thrown around for a little bit. This is where we have Chen having his crisis moment, where he's like, he has to start performing.
This.
Yeah.
Yes.
So far, he has just been able to wing it by just like saying stupid things and moving around, but now he has to be the one to operate the digital conveyor.
And he's terribly nervous about it. Like,
yes.
I love how the whole team is sort of working on Chen and managing his anxiety attack, but it's Lazarus who sort of stays on the phone and sort of summarizes. Like, he doesn't just say exactly what's happening now, but he sort of jumps to the conclusion, all right, no, this is going to take a second. We're a change of plan.
Yeah.
Like, whatever's happening in the background, we're not getting that resolved in the next 2 minutes. So, like...
And Sigourney Weaver with her.
Hold, please.
As in, what you gonna do?
Yeah. And once again, it's Nesmith who talks Fred Kwan / Tech Sergeant Chen / Tony Shalhoub from his anxiety attack and tells him, like, you never forgot a line. You never missed a mark. You always did everything right. And you stopped trying.
Yeah, and they built it for you, so just do your thing.
Which I wonder if that's a reference to... I know on Babylon 5 there were some actors that later turned out to have substance abuse problems, but who were credited by their fellow actors, like, never late, never forgot a line, right? They did the work. They had stuff going on in their personal lives, but they did the work. And he manages it.
Yeah, and we get a first moment of... and it's actually the...
Yes, you're right.
When he sees the Thermian Lalara, yes.
Pile.
And for her, he does it. Okay, for her, he zips up his uniform, closes the collar, and he gets on the digital conveyor, zooms it in on Nesbitt, and zaps him in just before the
rock monster
collapses on him. He's actually doing the pose that John did in when he gets turned into a statue.
You're right. That's the exact same pose. It's his sort of wedding statue pose. But unfortunately, all is not well, because not only, I mean, Nesmith wants to tell the Thermians, hey, we can all go home. Give us a shuttle. You've got your ship back in working order. Drop us off somewhere, and you can go back to your home world. And they say, well, we don't have a home world anymore.
No, but you saw that when the ship left the space station, which was basically a segment from a planet which had been broken apart, which I think the Saris did.
I wonder if I'm meant to infer that there were still Thermians left after the launch of the Protector.
But they have been... I don't know.
Saris wiped them out while they were...
That's ambiguous. I don't know.
I don't think so, because Saris' ship didn't enter the minefield.
Yes, it did.
No, not at this point.
No,
they didn't chase
later. It goes later.
Advising patience. So,
but they have caught up with him and boarded and have taken over control. Balthazar is being tortured for information.
Yeah. We see a lot more of Saris's people whose race, if they're named, it happens too quickly. There was a brief moment of like Grabthar, Saris. I couldn't follow it quickly enough, even though I'm a huge geek.
There's a few...
They sort of look like chariots.
Chariots? Oh, yes. Well, there's a few who have actual the more important characters, the lieutenants. They have full heads and full prosthetic makeups, and the soldiers are just kind of like covered in helmets, and they've got these almost rag-like face coverings, and they're just like
sort of like the Charids, who have the same kind of
but they weren't green,
kind of look going on, which. Dave Elsey is still upset. Like they told him to make a new alien that was cheaper to produce than Scarans. Mm-hmm. Okay, fine, because we can't have like a whole bunch of Scarans. He's just like, yeah, okay, but we make them once and we can reuse them for the rest of the series. This is all disposable makeup, so it's cheaper to make them once. But if we want to have them show up again, we're going to have to make them again.
Yeah.
Versus a Scaran armature that you can
just put in, or you can just repaint it and now you have a different Scaran.
Oh, I want Saris to show up in Farscape now. He's such a good... I mean, oh no, he's Natira's boy toy. He's also got the head things.
No, totally,
brother and sister. The brother and sister. They're both.
Yeah. Okay, that's your headcanon sorted.
Yeah, that's going on a password-protected Tumblr. I don't think that's for public consumption.
So, Saris forces Nesbit to explain to Mathazar what is actually going on.
Because now that they show him the historical documents, he understands.
Yes.
Happened.
They're actors. Oh, and he thinks it's terribly amusing. Now, with them beaten and humiliated, he sets the crew to suffocate by opening a valve somewhere, and
orders our heroes to be spaced.
Yes, thrown out into space. Mathazar is heartbroken when he learns that he's been lied to and that none of it is true.
Yeah,
but
it really broke my heart.
But Nesbit manages to get a little thing going, like between him and Rickman, where he manages again through referring to a particular episode.
You're starting to act like you did in episode 17. You scene-stealing hack.
Oh, right. Well, how does it feel, Jason? Was it worth it? You murdered us all!
Where they did one of those fake fights that distracts a guard.
Exactly, which he takes great offense at because he always considers Nesbit to be the scene-stealing hack. But
how would this ever work? What guard lets two prisoners have a fight?
Oh, yeah, no.
But so, they managed to have this fight until Nesmith can grab rudimentary lathe and smacks one of the guards. They get both of the guards into the airlock, and before anyone else can act or before the guards can escape, Chen is apparently in the background, just pushes the button to space them all and goes,
Sorry, the door's a little sticky. Did you see that? I'll get one of my boys up here with a can of WD-40.
He is the...
He did do it!
He is the one who's just like... He's the cold, hard one who's just like... throws them out the airlock.
Nesmith has a plan.
Yes.
Once again, he did that before when they were all questioning, hey, why are we listening to him? All he has is top billing. Like, he's not a strategist.
No, he's just another actor. And just because he plays the commander doesn't make him the commander. But,
he
kind of grows into that role.
Gives everybody something to do. Chen and Guy get down there to open the valve so that the Thermians can breathe.
Yeah.
Quellic and Lazarus go down to the barracks to wedge it open in case they fail.
And he and Gwen are going down to turn off the self-destruct.
Yep. Laredo, hey, what am I supposed to do? Learn to drive.
Yeah, so he goes and sits to watch old videos of himself to, like, remember how he got it. Because, like he said before, he had it all figured out. Like, this means forward, this means back, fast.
Yeah.
So he just had to, like, get back into that and find out what he imagined the controls to work like. And if he knows that, then he can work them.
Sigourney Weaver points out to him, like, hey, so we're heading down to stop the core meltdown. We're still actors, though.
Yes. Do you know how to do that?
No, I don't. But I know someone who does.
Gets on the Vox to
Brandon,
down in suburban Van Nuys, presumably, working on a model. His mum comes in, convinces to tell him to like
take out the garbage.
Mother, not just now. He is so
10
cute.
minutes.
He's so adorable.
Gets his friends on.
Oh no, you can't skip over this scene because the Vox goes off and he hears, Commander, yeah. What's your name? I remember you. You're the kid.
Yes.
Brandon, right? Okay. No, I wanted to tell you, and he goes.
I understand. I'm not one of those nerds who completely.
And Nesmith's like,
It's all real.
Oh my God! I knew it. I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it, but just.
He explains to him that, like, he needs help, information. Like, I'm on the ship and I need to get down to the shut-off systems.
And he gets the whole crew together.
Yeah.
Justin calls up his friends on 1999 Skype.
That's, I guess, what they were using. Yeah,
Right.
I mean, they do have video chat apparently.
Yeah.
Does Skype have video chat? I can't remember when that started coming around.
Sounds about right. I mean, I didn't at the time, but
It depends on your bandwidth, I suppose. And yes, there's like loads of running. The whole crew comes online. Like, Brandon has like the lower decks, and nobody knows the lower decks like him. It was one of his friends, and it's not Brandon's, but yeah.
yeah, and they guide them through the bowels of this ship that they don't fully understand. Oh yes,
The core of the Omega-13.
which must look amazing.
It doesn't look like much to me. It's just these few walls and this drum spinning fan that we have in every single.
Until she looks up, and above there's like these like balls floating around. It looks weird. It's like, it's very organic almost.
And then it's just off through the...
Yeah, then you take a left here and you go through the chompers.
No, okay. So this film was originally, like, it had a darker tone, it had a PG-13 rating, it had more swearing, it had some sex scenes, and it was toned down for various reasons. One of them was, like, audience responses, and one of them was also, this was coming out around Christmas, and the studio wanted to compete with Stuart Little, so it had to be a bit more family-friendly.
Yes, okay.
But, like, they had to cut this line where she says...
yes.
And it was the best line in the test screenings. All the audiences loved it. So the director, Parisot, told Sigourney Weaver, like, just sort of whiff it. Just do a really poor job on the ADR, and maybe they won't do it. But even if they leave in your, well, screw that. It is so obvious.
That she is saying, well, fuck that, yes.
I found in my research, I found on the web one reference that when this aired on HBO in 2000, it was dubbed again, and she said, well, frell that.
Oh. Damn.
Only one website on the entire internet will verify that. I have no idea. If anybody has a recording of that, please, please, please send it in. You can find us at SoFarscape on Facebook and Twitter. We definitely want to hear. No, I swear to God, if you have Sigourney Weaver saying frell that, it's all I want.
Oh, fair comment, yeah. So that's like, actually, that is one of my favorite lines in the movie, I suppose.
Yes.
Because it's not. It's either that or the guy's line when Chen and Jane Doe are making out and like tentacles come all over the place. And he's just like...
Oh, that's not right.
That might also be my favorite line.
Ad-lib by Sam Rockwell.
One of the two.
I have a bunch of favorites. I mean, is there air you don't know? That's a big one. Oh my God, I knew it, obviously. Oh, there's so many. There's so many. But yeah, they're being chased by more of these chariots. They have to run through these CGI chompers. They're being directed by Brandon and his gang. And meanwhile, Sam Rockwell, Guy, Tech and Lalora and Guy have arrived at the sort of control station overlooking the control room that they need to be in.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of the aliens are playing poker there and just like hanging out. And
Guy offers to sacrifice his life to distract them so that they can get to the valve controls. And Chen tells him, well, no, what if you're not expendable?
What if you're the plucky comic relief?
He sort of looks at his own moustache and he goes, I guess I am plucky.
Chen has a better idea, which involves using the digital conveyor to beam up the rock monster and let the rock monster take care of the aliens, Cyrus's men.
It chases them. They keep firing at it. Those weapons, by the way, that they're using there.
Fifth Element?
Yes, you recognize them?
I caught them, yeah.
I mean, it's fairly common for like sci-fi props to be sold off to other productions. Like
they just end up in a warehouse and people go walking around and go like, we can repaint those. And
like the Starship Troopers armor was reused for the guards in the train job, the official first episode of Firefly. Yes, I'm flexing all my nerd muscle today.
And there's another relationship there because the guns that the blue-handed government people are using, the stunners in Firefly, gets reused as Dr. Horrible's freeze ray in.
Oh, very good. Not an ice ray, but a freeze ray.
Yes, in Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog.
And the monster, the rock monster, chases them through an airlock and smashes out. And I love this because the monster is spaced as well.
Yeah.
And there's this sort of sweet music and this sense of wonder as it looks around.
It's like, guess I'm an asteroid now.
And it's happy.
Yeah.
Right? It's finally not surrounded by all these pesky things that annoy it all the time.
And it's just like,
this is nice.
We can just float around here and
look at everything. This is great. Yeah. I love this idea that it just travels the universe looking at everything and is just delighted.
Yeah.
That's what it's always wanted to do.
Yeah. So, Dr. Lazarus has a touching scene when his young charge and him go rescue the Thermians.
Yeah.
And just as they manage to open the airlock into the quarters of the Thermians who are
He walks in as a hero and they all start chanting the commander's name.
The commander's name, yes. And yes, the commander has saved us. And he just eye rolls. And I was like, screw that. His young charge gets shot by one of the Sarex's guards.
Yeah.
And he finally delivers his line in earnest.
It was really affecting.
Yeah.
I mean, this time I was a little bit distracted because I was just thinking about like the Saris guard in the background shot Quellic, then is gun jammed.
Yeah.
And for this whole dramatic scene,
he's just like fighting his gun.
He's just bashing his gun and not moving.
Yeah.
So that when the door opens and Lazarus sort of
Murder
thrills
rages,
him right
yes.
through the heart and charges at him. Because, this was... Everyone in this crew got their sort of moment of realization that the role that they were playing and the person they are really not that far apart.
No. Very good point. It's funny how he goes berserk, because first we get the scene where they actually manage to turn off the self-destruct, but right after that, when they meet up again, Lazarus is completely like going berserk, still attacking and killing guards, and it's like, yes, be calmed down by Nesbitt. But yes, we get the lovely scene where they shut the thing down. It's like, oh, just press the blue button. Is that it? Yeah.
Why?
Nothing, I just thought it'd be more complicated than that.
And as they think they are going to die, Gwen and Nesbitt have this little moment where they finally seem to find affection for each other.
I like that they hug.
Yes.
Right, it's not a kiss in the face of death. It's, well...
And of course the timer stops at 1 second, because it always stops at 1 second.
And then she goes full airhead again. Which is wait, what were you going to say?
Right, yes.
Sigourney Weaver talked about that. Like, anytime she put on the wig, she felt her IQ drop by a few points. Blondes have more fun, in the words.
Laredo has learned how to fly.
Yeah, everybody bursts onto the ship. They run toward their stations. They know how to work everything now.
Yep.
They get the armor back up. They dive into the minefield. Laredo, can you get closer? Oh,
and then he figures it out, yes, because they are getting some mines in tug, the magnetic mines, which are like trailing behind the ship. There's a kind of cheesy scene between Saris and Nesbitt.
Yeah, I love it. Goading each other on.
Where both thinking that they have the upper hand.
Yeah.
And it turns out that it's Nesbitt and the Protector, because he's dragging the mines, and as they're playing chicken, the Saris doesn't see the mines until the Protector veers off right at the end, and all those mines go straight
just the
into
same
the
way that Zachary Quinto's Spock flew the jellyfish up the maw of the Narada, while Nero just sort of stared ahead in frustration. The ship explodes. We see him running away from the explosions behind him, and everyone's cheering. They have defeated the enemy. The Thermians arrive on the bridge. They applaud in their fantastic hands
upside
up and down.
Yeah, Mathazar is back up and running. He's got his leg in some sort of weird support system, and he's got a crutch with him.
The Thermian laughter, which is so weird, which is sort of, open your mouth and convulse, and then only 3 seconds later does the sound start.
Yes. Presumably just because they're producing tones which humans can't hear.
That's very generous.
Come here.
The ship was a marble as big as this. A very clever deception indeed.
Yes.
And they let him have it. Because, why? Yeah.
Makes little difference at this point. Yes, they decide that they want to go home.
Yeah, Laredo says, no problem, but we'll have to go through the black hole. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Black hole, no big deal. It's not what black holes look like.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
That's what they didn't know that yet in 1999,
Yeah, they did.
I mean, well, they didn't know what they look like, but they didn't know.
Well, they knew it wasn't a funnel.
Right.
Everybody knew it was always going to be a three-dimensionally symmetrical...
Yeah.
Okay, well, fine.
Well, they didn't during the black hole.
No, okay, but they didn't really care about science, did they?
They didn't hit this series?
No, also, no, that's fair,
This is where we see Rickman with his frailing makeup, that his headpiece is definitely coming loose.
Yep, his hair's sticking out underneath it, but he still hasn't taken it off. Tech Sergeant Chen walks onto the bridge, but
It turns out to be not him. It is Saris in disguise.
Shoots everyone on the bridge.
Everybody gets a dying scene.
Okay, so big shout out to Sam Rockwell, who he channeled Matt Damon from Saving Private Ryan, because everybody's getting shot.
Yeah.
But he's just standing completely still, even just the same expression as Matt Damon as Private Ryan.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yes, everything gets shot up while the ship is hurtling towards Earth at breakneck speeds, and the last thing that they manage to do is activate the Omega-13.
Yes.
Which indeed turns out to be a time reset.
Yep. The sound stops, and there's all these sort of little balls of matter that fly out and freeze and then fly back together again, just like the red matter as it obliterated the Dorada in Star Trek 2009.
Yes.
There's one more. It looks exactly like that, and it's even got the same sort of gloopy sound effects.
Damn.
Yeah.
Everybody else is congratulating themselves that they came through a wormhole, and it is only Nesbit who is realizing that, like, hang on, something's wrong.
Yeah, because it's a machine that sort of resets time 13 seconds, long enough to redeem a single mistake.
Yes, which is stop Chen or Saras from shooting things up, which he does. He attacks what everybody else thinks is Chen, and they pull him off, and yeah, we get the final little showdown. Saras draws out his gun, but he gets
beaten up by Mathazar.
Yes.
With his crutch.
Yes, which
hell yeah.
Yeah, Chekhov's crutch, I suppose, at this point.
I don't think that's fair.
No.
I think when someone has clearly got his leg broken and is walking around with a crutch, that's...
I know, but still.
I mean, we're sitting here speaking into Chekhov's microphones by your logic. I wonder what they're... I mean, mine has googly eyes that you put on there, which I
wasn't
really
me, that was Solly. But
Aww. And they say their goodbyes because apparently, like, the ship can't slow down in time for its approach to Earth. Like, some systems are still frayed.
Right, but they can if they split off the command section, and then the ship can veer off, and then the command section can still... It makes no sense.
Well, as a sort of... I've seen a T-shirt of the two components of the Enterprise D, where the saucer section, which doesn't have a drive...
It does, but it doesn't have a warp drive.
It doesn't have a warp drive. It's described as a total top, and the engineering section is described as the power bottom.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I get it. In this case, it's more like the captain's shuttle, which detaches...
Yacht,
the captain's yacht, which detaches from the top. And, yeah, they manage to... fly and approach. There's a goodbye. So Jane Doe comes along with Chen.
Yeah.
There's a little moment where she's looking at Mathazar and they're making eyes at each other.
And they're holding
like,
hands, and he's
and,
like,
and he sees definitely what's going on, and she
no
moves.
words need to be said.
No. They go ahead. Get a fantastic scene with Brandon trying to explain to his parents what's going on.
Yeah.
And he's just thinking, he's out nerding with his friends again.
Well, he's outside.
Right.
Exactly the same strategy as Flight of the Navigator, using fireworks to provide a sort of visual confirmation.
Dinners at
for
7. Yeah. Yeah, they managed to guide the ship into the parking lot of the convention center.
Comes in a bit hot, though.
A little bit, yeah.
A lot of Subarus are smashed by the yacht, as well as the whole side of a convention center. I can't imagine that no one dies in this gigantic
because
crash.
especially since it comes crashing out through some of the booths where merchandise is being sold.
Exactly. It goes through the merch booths and then through the convention hall. But it's a hell of an entrance.
Crashes into the stage, perfectly poised with the exit for the crew to start staggering out onto the stage one by one.
It's a great applause.
The MC is just standing there going like, okay, what was this? First, Tommy appears, and he catches it. The MC does a good job. He catches on. He starts introducing the crew one at a time, apparently, because it's day 3 of the con, and the crew is missing in action.
Oh, yes, that's true. They were on telly.
Yeah.
I swear that MC was one of the almighty tallest from Invader Zim.
Oh. Yeah.
I recognize that voice. I'm sure I've seen that actor as well.
Yes, everybody gets called onto stage.
The fans are
loving
it. Loving it. They're dancing in their seats. Brandon and his crew come running in as well, cheering along with everyone.
And we get Saras's final moments where he comes walking out.
Yeah, but not to worry.
Does another judo roll and shoots him.
And he sort of vaporizes and collapses into this sort of core that then explodes in a sort of Wizard of Oz puff of smoke.
Yeah, it's almost like you expect a confetti cannon to go off there, and the crowd loves it. And yeah, everybody's standing back a little while Nesbit is lapping up the attention, and then he actually calls them out to the front with him, and everybody's looking around like, whoa, he's never done that before.
Yeah.
But
holding hands together to bow, take their curtain calls.
They have become a crew.
Yeah. And that's
it. It's like it ends with the final scene where there's apparently the show has been restarted, and it starts exactly as the beginning.
Yes, but everything is a little bit more polished. Like it's Galaxy Quest: The Next Generation, 18 years later, much like Star Trek and The Next Generation.
The special effects look better from the ship on the outside. The bridge looks neater, cleaner. And
Lazarus has better makeup.
Yes.
Chen still remembers to squint.
And now we have introducing Guy Fleegman as security chief Rock what's his name?
Ingersoll.
Yeah, Ingersoll. The plucky comic relief.
Apparently, like, he's a reference to Guy Vandemar Vardaman. I'm not entirely sure. He started off as an extra in Star Trek The Next Generation, but he kept bumping into the same problem, which was people yelling at him, Brent Spiner, why aren't you in makeup? Over and over and over again until they realized, okay, so we've got a photo double for Brent Spiner here. And so they kept hiring him as an extra because, and usually, like, he was a hand double for Data. So anytime that you see, like, Data pushing buttons on the screen with a close-up, like, that's Brent Spiner was off having lunch or whatever, and they filmed that with Guy.
Oh, okay, that's clever.
Right up until the movies. All right, so we have a bit of a challenge.
She gives me a Woody.
She gives you the willies.
Oh, that's different. I mean, willies. I don't know if there's willies in this.
Like, I think maybe those bullies in the toilet and their bad laughter. I think because they're not great actors.
Right. I mean,
that's the only thing.
They're absolutely essential to the plot.
Yes.
But yeah,
that's the only thing that could have been better.
They sounded like cliches of, you know, people who laugh at fans, basically.
Yeah.
Like, look at those lame losers. Which, I mean, I think it's pretty brave to, like, walk into a bathroom and start dissing the con with that you're at right that when there's 3 Klingons standing at the urinals next to you.
Yeah.
You know, that's...
Yeah, I think that's part of that bully attitude, like, what are those nerds going to do? But I just can't understand people who enjoy not enjoying things. Life is too short for that.
No, absolutely not. Woody.
So I retract my Willy.
Yeah.
Those actors were doing their best. They were hired. They did the job. They were absolutely essential. Yes, Willy retracted. Ugh.
Is it cold or something? Is it cold?
No, it is not. It is scorcho. We're sitting here in shorts and black tank tops. Both of us, by the way. Black tank top brigade represent. Kay, this is a perfect film.
It is. So, I mean... Woody.
There's not even a Willy. There's not even a Woody.
No.
It's all fantastic.
I mean, if anything, I would give it to Saris. The makeup, the character design.
The creature design.
The creature design on Saris. I think that would get my Woody. Because that's absolutely amazing. But
Great job, Stan Winston and his team.
Everything else was just like this movie is just brilliant.
Yeah. Let's have a spin-off of him and Natira sort of slutting their way around the universe while they're bickering with each other about their taste in men.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. I don't think you're going to get Tim Allen for that, but
you had to bring me down. I guess there is one Willy about this film, and I wish Tim Allen was a better person. But well, I loved it.
It was fantastic. It's so good seeing it again, especially with you.
Thank you. And with you as well, listeners at home. Like, I do hope that you took our advice and paused the podcast and went to watch this marvelous ode to fandom and could enjoy it with us. And that's the
story.
And that's the story so far.
Okay. Yes.
Wow.
We'll be back next week with a fanfic, and after that with episode 401.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it's called.
Begins.
But
yes, it's a secret, isn't it? Until we get there. We have a bunch of really great synopses already. Hey, y'all, we love the synopses. Watch those character counts, though, because we do have to tweet them. But yes, a lot to look forward to. It's going to be wild. As usual, you can find us on Facebook and Twitter, especially if you have a version of the HBO airing of this film where she says...
Frell this.
Well, Frell that, yes, exactly, which we desperately want to see. We love to hear from you, whatever you have to share with us. We're at sofarscape.com, Sofarscape, wherever you get your podcast, sofarscape.com/links, where you can get links to supporting us on Patreon, submitting your own synopses, which we love. We're getting some new people that have started recently.
Oh, fantastic.
Very exciting. You can also suggest fanfics. We're going to be reading another one next week. And as we're approaching, we're heading into the 4th season, so we have a lot of fanfics that we're actually able to read. Please send us your favorites. I'm Kaki.
I'm Kay.
Never give up.
Never surrender.
Yeah!